Hey, Zudoragi here, and today I'll be taking a look at Voyager Class Ratchet from the first Transformers movie toy line. Here you can see him in his, I believe it is H1 Hummer. Is it the H1? No, it is the H2. The H2 Hummer vehicle mode, which is an H2 Hummer ambulance. That is, for some reason, a very sickeningly green color. But that said, here's its size compared to a soda can. Pretty much average what you would expect from a Voyager class figure. As far as colors are concerned, like I said, there's that sickening green color, but it's broken up with a bit of dark red, some bit of goldish paint, translucent blue, black, and a little bit of orangish red scattered about, and a more yellowy green. Oh, and silver, of course. View from above and from below. You know, all things considered, this is a pretty neat undercarriage, considering how a lot of the first movie figures looked. His wheels are just plastic; they're not painted, not rubber, but I'm not too broken up about it. He does roll pretty well, and his wheels are so big nothing drags on the ground. There isn't really much posability to talk about with this. I mean, his doors can't open because they're attached to this, and he doesn't even have, you know, doors even molded in back here. These sort of try to emulate them, but that's about it. He does have sort of a gimmick. This headache rack stretcher bit with the spare tire can come off. It comes off for transformation, but you can take it off in vehicle mode as well to sort of civilianize it. And it just pegs in here, here, and here. So just pull that up, and pull that up. So there's just a peg with a tab on it. It just goes over there. You can also take this bumper rack up front off. It pegs in here, here, and then just a peg that sort of sits in there, but these two up top are the ones that actually hold everything in place. And so you can get to look more like a civilian vehicle. Of course, I mean, you still have the fire department and fire rescue things going on there. Oh, and this little railing bit here, which should look like this. Due to the way I transformed him the first month or so I had him, I ended up snapping it off, but I have since adjusted how I transform him. Ooh, man, he is way dustier than I thought. Yeah, I've had this figure for over 10 years now, actually. But that's him sort of with all his gear off. Now, as far as transformations are concerned, his isn't the most complicated in terms of the movie figures. It's fairly simple, actually. Again, just pop the rack here off. And just set that off to the side. Then you want to take these panels along the front of the what do they even call this section? Whatever. These panels right here. They just tab in right there, and tabs that sit behind here. So just untab it, bring it around on this double hinge. Hey, come on. Just flop it against there. Do the same thing on this side. Untab, bring it around. Then take these sections and bring them. Let's raise this up a little bit. Take these sections and just bring them out to the side. And then fold these out the rest of the way, like that. Take the roof and windshield. It's on a double hinge in here. So just untab it from there, bring it forward. Take the windshield, split it, and move it back on these hinges. And then just lock it down like that. Then take this entire front section and fold it down, and you want this hinge to go back here, and this post will go into a port right there. I'll just lock into place, and I can just fold those back just to sort of pseudo-secure things a little more. Come back here to the rear bumper and bring it down and slide it down as far as it will go. Then take these sections, which will become the feet, fold them forward, and when you do that, it'll activate the automorph. As you bring this down, his kneecap will fold out, and the thigh sections will bulge out a little bit, just to fill things out. Bring this entire section down, split the legs, and rotate them, then straighten them out. Rotate and straighten. Bring the legs down like this. Just get everything down to where it should be, and then there is a post here. They'll go into that port. Just get that up there like that. Then take the door and arm sections, fold them around like that. Straighten the arms down, turn them around, and just get them to his side. Just like that. Flip this panel back, and there you have Movie 1 Voyager Class Ratchet in robot mode. His size is basically what you'd expect out of Voyager Class. About 1.5 times the size of a soda can. His colors are much the same as before, but there are a few differences. He's still mostly that weird, disturbing green, but he has a little bit more of the orangish red, the dark grayish black, and some silver added in, as well as that yellowish green showing up in a few more spots. View from below and above. He does have some light piping in his head, although his eyes are so small that it's not really super effective, but the head has a pretty good design. It replicates the movie design well enough. Posability is not too bad. Head is on a swivel and can go all the way around. Although it's not in a ball joint, so it can't go up or down. Arms can go all the way around. They can go out to the side that far. There is a swivel just above the elbow. Elbow bends about 75 degrees. The hands can wiggle ever so slightly, but that's about it. Nothing at the waist. Legs can go forward. Can go forward that far. Back that far. Stop it. Out to the side that far, because the tire gets in the way. There is a swivel just above the knee. The knee can only bend that far, which is rather sad. And those feet aren't going anywhere. So his posability isn't terrible, but it'll get done what you need it to do. Now, as far as accessories are concerned, he does of course still have his big rack thingy, except now if you split the light bar up here and move this post, come on, stop it, it'll pinch. And oddly, like I mentioned with Blackout, it's a Minicom port, so you could ostensibly pop a Minicom on there and use it to move everything back and forth. Weirdly enough, he can hold it, kind of. There is a port here in his arm, and as you can see, it's actually notched. And to go along with that, there is a tab that sticks out on this post, so it can only go on a specific way. Just attach it, make sure everything lines up, and there you have him with his weapon equipped. Yes, it looks ridiculous, but they had to do something, I guess. It can be stored on him. There is a notched port on this flap on his back, and so this post will just go in there. It doesn't stick out too much as long as you're looking at him from the front. If you look at him from the side, it's kind of obvious. He does have one other accessory slash gimmick. As you may notice, his arms actually look a little bit different. That's because with this arm, you can pop this panel open, pull out this chunk of his arm, fold the hand in there like that, close that panel, pull this panel out, and now you have some kind of butterfly axe? I have no idea. He never used anything like this in the movie or anything that looked like this. Well, didn't use anything that looked like this either, but that's even weirder. Of course, what some people do is, if you remember, he had a sort of weird his hand turned into a gun in the movie, like a lot of the other characters. So what a lot of people do is they will leave this folded up and bring it up like that, and it actually kind of looks like the gun that he used in the movie. I mean, if you use your imagination. I mean, it's not a terrible gimmick. I'm glad it's there. It's something, but it's weird all the same. Just get the hand back out. One thing I want to show is, if his arms weren't so weird like that, his thumb is... Hang on, let me bring this down. His thumb is actually a separate piece to the rest of his hand. And at least on this hand, his thumb can open up. Kind of disappointing he can't have that posability without his arm looking mutilated, but hey, at least it's there. Just fold that back up, and there you go. There's not really much else to him. Again, this was back when the first movie came out, so the screen accuracy is minimal at best, and most of the details are pretty flat. His legs look kind of weird. But they tried. They worked with what they had. They got much better as the movies went on, and I think Dark of the Moon was kind of the peak, but we'll get into that later. But the one thing I really don't like is these screw holes on his shoulders. But I mean, there's really not a whole lot they could do about that. I mean, they either had to put the screw holes here so that, in vehicle mode, the doors didn't look mutilated, but if they wanted everything to look right here, there would be screw holes here. So, I mean, I don't really know what all they could do to mitigate that, but what can you do? One thing to note is, if you have seen the movie, as I'm sure most people have, he actually has light bars going along the sides of his head in his robot mode, and I've actually seen people try and replicate that by taking his weapon and spinning it around, splitting it, and then sort of just getting everything spread out. Hey, don't do that. Something like that. I mean, yeah, it's not a perfect replication. In fact, it looks pretty poor, but it's there. I just thought I'd mention it. Normally I just leave this pegged on like that. It gives him sort of a cape thing. But it's not a bad figure. It was a good first attempt at Ratchet. I never owned any of the other Ratchet figures, mainly because I liked the size of this one. I didn't like how all future Ratchets were deluxe class. But from what I could tell, their screen accuracy got better, but I never bought them because I preferred him to be this size. So yeah, size was a little more important than screen accuracy to me. But it is what it is. Anyway, that has been my review of the Voyager Class Ratchet from the first Transformers movie. So until next time, Bye-bye.